Pleased to be joined by head coach of the South Plains College Texans, Coach Steve Green joins us. And Coach, a couple of convincing wins for you here the last couple of times out. The guys at Western and over New Mexico Military Institute. And boy, you guys came out of the gates firing on all cylinders. It seemed like in both ball games.
Yeah, we did. We got a lot of contributions from a lot of different players, and that was good. I mean, these guys have worked hard all season long and what have you. It was nice to be able to go all the way through the bench and let everybody play, and all in all, you had to be pretty well pleased with what they contributed. We're always looking for depth, in the top 3 or 4 games that we have to play in a conference, and to this point we've been pretty fortunate with a lot of minutes for 6 or 7 guys, but past history tells me that it's going to be 8, 9, and 10, those players that are really probably going to make the difference as the season wears on.
Coach Polona and I talked about after the ball game about the fact you got a couple different point guards, some looks, got some other guys' looks inside the paint, and frankly, you don't get that option very many times in this conference to be able to juggle that lineup and tinker with friends.
No, and we have to, and the thing that the trap that you fall into is like as an example, Devontae, he's been so good and so consistent that you don't take him out of a lot of games, but if you give him 5 or 6 minutes a half rest, then he's so much better the minutes that he's in there. And we have a couple other point guards that have really been working hard and I think need to be rewarded by playing, and I think they can help us as well.
Kind of an interesting prospect. Nearly everybody scores in that game against New Mexico Military Institute. And it's a lopsided win, but you get a lot of points out of your post in that ball game, and some guys that frequently aren't considered maybe scorers actually took care of the basketball pretty nicely underneath.
Yeah, I was all in all pretty well satisfied with what each guy did that night. We have a lot of guys that can score, and this year as opposed to last year, they're being allowed to play maybe more in their natural position. When you're a couple of players short, like we were last year, we didn't have just a dominant 5-man like we do this year, and we didn't have just a surefire point guard like we do this year. It allows these guys to get back to their home position, and as a result, I think you're seeing some of the success that each of these guys are putting up night after night.
It seemed to me like looking back over the numbers from those last 2 ball games, you got a lot of shots off, and turnovers will cut down those numbers of shots, but it seemed to me like you took pretty good care of the basketball.
Well, we shoot it pretty fast. When I first got into coaching in junior college, I talked to a really good friend of mine, and I said, give me a little bit of wisdom. What do you think? And he said, well, what I would try to do is get him to play as hard as I can and shoot it before you throw it away. And you think, shoot it before you throw it away. Well, I tell you what, a bad shot is a lot better than a turnover. And that's why I think we don't give up a lot of uncontested layups. You turn the ball over, you can't guard those mistakes. And so, consequently, we're shooting the ball a whole lot more.
And meanwhile, we talked about this early in the year, and he talked about a bad shot's better than a turnover, but it doesn't make a difference whether the good shot comes off past 2 or past 9. When you're open, and you guys have really hit the shots pretty well. Well,
you don't want them thinking a whole lot. You want them to do what they do naturally, and if it is a good shot, let's let it go. And what difference does it make on the shot clock when you put it up, other than the last 3 or 4 minutes of a game, when you're trying to go ahead and win a game, and that has been a problem with us, and we've not readjusted our thinking in the last 2 or 3 minutes of a game, and we've talked about it a lot. We've watched some of the other teams in college basketball. We watched North Carolina obviously blow a 10-point game last night. We watched Kansas blow one against Missouri and what have you, and so these are all lessons that we're trying to teach these guys. We tried to do the very same thing versus Howard here. So at some point, when you have the game under control, you need to play the game a different way, and so. But it's hard. It's difficult, with some of these players because they're not taking everything into consideration at times. So
you got to stretch here over the next couple times. You got a couple of dandies coming up. You got Midland coming to town tonight, and then you get on the road to Odessa. Let's start out with the Midland chaps. A win you got the last time on the road, but it was kind of a nail biter.
Yeah, we didn't play particularly well. I don't think we played well enough to win. they played bad enough to lose, I think, and I'm expecting something different tonight. I think from both teams. I think we'll play well, but I'm somewhat cautious in that I think that they're going to come in here and, you know, because their backs are against the wall. They're looking for a playoff spot. Hey, a win against the top seeded team goes a long ways towards securing a really good berth in the regional tournament. So we got to be prepared, you know, to take their best shot tonight. The fact that it's at our place, we should play probably a little more aggressive and maybe with a little bit more confidence. But then you factor in their desperation and all that kind of stuff, and sometimes it evens out.
Midland, last time on the road, you said that you didn't think you played the best game you've played. Midland didn't seem like they played the best they have. It's got to feel a little different coming into the second half of this conference schedule. Everybody's kind of tuned up, and you got to think you're about running high speed now.
Yeah, but I think, you know, I think they were responsible for our poor play, as were we, you know, for theirs. So, you know, hopefully that trend will continue tonight. But you know, we're expecting a team that, you know, I mean, they're really big inside. They like to go inside to score. Their guard play has been somewhat inconsistent this season, which is kind of scary because you don't really know who to focus on, what have you. So I think they've got good players. I think they're starting to play a little bit better. They had a tough loss at Odessa the other night, which is, you know, that's not a surprise. I mean, Odessa's very good. Midland's very good. You know, I think the top 4 teams in this league are there's not a lot of difference between any of us. We've been pretty lucky so far, and I use the word luck, and believe it, to win at New Mexico and at Midland. And so right now we're the only team that's got victories on an opponent's floor against the top 4 teams. And so that, you know, I mean, it's imperative then that we protect our place tonight and stay ahead of these other squads.
Does the defensive scheme change much with a team like Midland, where you've got a lot of size down there that like to score out of the paint? How do you change the defensive schematic for that?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of ways that you try to guard, you know, a high-low offense and what have you. And there's, you know, the different schools of thought and what have you. But we've got a plan. We were fairly successful last time against them. Obviously, you don't want to let them get the ball where they're comfortable scoring. And so, you know, you factor in everything that you want to try to do versus that. The problem that they offer us is they like to drive the ball. Their point guard is very good. If you don't do a good job of stopping the ball, then he's going to get, you know, he's going to get a penetrating dribble into the paint, and now you have to rotate and things like that. And then what ends up happening? Now you play right into their strength, which is if they get the ball on the glass, you know, with the size and strength they have, it's hard to keep them off from getting second shots and what have you. So we've been working on it for you know, a couple of days. We've had 2 or 3 days to talk about them and look at them and things of that sort. Now we just got to go out there and go through the paces.
I certainly think rebounding becomes a big deal with Midland. You talk about keeping them off the glass. Not only first shot, but second shot really gets crucial in a game like this.
I think they kicked our tails on the glass down there, if I remember correctly. And you know, they turned the ball over a whole lot, I think, which negated the advantage that they got from getting second shots. So, you know, well, I'm obviously worried about the fact that they can shoot it till they make it. What have you. So, you know, we've focused on it. You know, you can't guard a second shot. I mean, a team shoots a ball and they get the rebound, they go back up. You can't guard that shot, and so it's been a point of emphasis for us.
All right, Coach, just seems out of time for this one today. Final thoughts for us before we get ready to hit the floor against the Midland Chaps tonight?
Well, you know, we're hoping that you know, we come out with a lot of enthusiasm, and I do think that our guys are aware of the importance of the game. This is it's a game that we have to win, I think, to stay on top. Even though, you know, we have a 2-game lead, hey, we've got to go to Odessa Monday, which is not going to be a joyride, and then you know, Howard's right on down the road down there, and that's not going to be any fun either. So we're sitting in a great spot right now, but things can they can turn around in 1 week. So, you know, we got to just take care of business here at home tonight.
All right, Coach. Appreciate your time as always. Thanks for dropping by. I'll see you after the ballgame.
Okay.